Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and this is our third annual End of the Year Awards. Now, basically, what this is, we've all seen it. Wrestling magazines do it, the Academy Awards do it, the Grammys do it. It's what we consider our awards for the happenings in wrestling during the year. Let's start right off with the first award, going to the Most Improved Wrestler. Have to go with Gunner. Gunner over at TNA has taken himself from someone that was somewhat of a joke and somewhat of a Mr. Intensity and nothing more, and made himself into what I think is legitimately one of the bigger stars and best, most interesting stars on the TNA roster at this point. I could easily see him being a future world champion. Next up, the best rivalry of the year. In my opinion, this one was a really tough category. Not too many really long-lasting rivalries that span the whole year, which make it easy to pick from. But in my opinion, the rivalry the Briscoe brothers, Mark and Jay, have with the Kingdom, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, and Adam Cole in Ring of Honor has been one of the most interesting and one of the most fun. One of the things I've enjoyed most about Ring of Honor's product this year, and it's a product I enjoy thoroughly. Our next award, the Best Talker of the Year. This one, we could give it to this guy every single year, and that would be Paul Heyman. Everything he did between Behind One and 21 and 1, and everything he brought to the table this year as being the advocate for the Beast, the reigning, defending, all that good stuff. Paul Heyman, Best Talker of the Year. When he talks, you listen. When you listen, you hear something great. Next up, the Best Technician of the Year. This was another hard choice. There's a lot of really good wrestlers, and basically a technician is a good in-ring talent that has all the skills and can work any style. However, there's a guy that's had a career resurgence this year. Is finally seeming, in my opinion, and hopefully they see it this way too, to gain some traction in WWE through going through NXT again and working there with them guys and doing a little more on the main roster, and that's Tyson Kidd. I think Tyson Kidd, he's been put in there with guys that are going to be the future of the company, and he showed that he's still someone that can absolutely go in the ring. He's added a little bit to his personality, which is going to make him stand out more in that world, but absolutely, in my opinion, one of the best wrestlers in the world right now at this time is Tyson Kidd. He reminds me a lot of Owen Hart as a guy that might not be getting the best push, but you always get the best matches from him. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into our worst wrestler of the year. Another NXT guy, in my opinion, Mojo Rawley. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I think he's too raw, too green. Not enough wrestling experience for the position he's been given, in my opinion. Coming off of that, our next award goes to Tag Team of the Year. This was a hard one. There's a lot of teams in contention. The Time Splitters, the Young Bucks, the Briscoe brothers for the work they did a little bit, the Addiction, formerly known as Bad Influence. A lot of really good tag teams. The Uso brothers, Goldust and Stardust. Been a lot of good tag teams this year. But one to me stood out above the rest, and that would be Red Dragon. These guys put on amazing matches everywhere they go. They won championships in New Japan this year, championships in Ring of Honor. Basically, a global team that has great matches every time, highly entertaining, highly fun. Easily the Tag Team of the Year, in my opinion. Now we're going to go to the most shocking moment of the year. This one's a no-brainer. WrestleMania 30, Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Who expected the streak to end? Who expected Brock Lesnar to end the streak? Matter of fact, we did a top 10 a few months before WrestleMania that was top 10 people to break the streak, and Brock Lesnar was like 7th or 8th. No one expected it. It was shocking. I think 90% of the audience had the face of that one guy that they always focus on with the jaw dropped and the eyes wide open. Nobody believed that would ever happen. As to whether it should or not, that's a debate for a different day, but it was one of them things that no one he beat the streak. The biggest thing in wrestling over the last 20 years, and he did it. Next up, the Women's Wrestler of the Year. This one, another one that's kind of easy in my opinion, and that would be Paige. Not only did she take NXT by storm this year, but she's called up to the main roster and takes the main roster by storm, winning 2 championships, winning the championship her first night on Monday Night Raw, having an awesome feud with AJ Lee, showing why she's one of the best wrestlers in the world, women or men. Absolutely an amazing talent, and the really, really impressive thing about this is she's 22 years old. She has a whole lifetime ahead of her, and she's already a 9-year veteran. I mean, this woman, Paige, is going to, in my opinion, and I think she can really do it, I think she's going to revolutionize women's wrestling on the scale that WWE produces. Kind of like Lita before and others have, Trish Stratus, in my opinion. Now we're going to go to the best angle of the year. This one actually, in hindsight, has become better than the initial thing. And that would be the Seth Rollins heel turn, dismantling the Shield. The night it happened, it didn't make sense. No one understood why. However, with what Seth Rollins has built since then, and everybody, when the Shield was together, everybody said, okay, Rollins is the obvious face, Ambrose is the obvious heel, Reigns is going to be the megastar. Reigns was on that trajectory, got injured. Rollins went the other way and went heel and has become a fantastic heel, one of the top 2 or 3 in the WWE. Ambrose has gone on to be a fantastic face, easily, I would say, behind John Cena, probably, and maybe Dolph Ziggler, probably the biggest face in the company right now. And to back that up, when they had the WWE Black Friday sale a week ago, they did more business than they ever did on the WWE shopwe.com over that weekend, and the highest selling person that weekend was Dean Ambrose. And it all comes from the Rollins turn. It all becomes the catalyst to everything that goes on after that, the whole authority storyline, John Cena feud, the Ambrose feud, him winning Money in the Bank. It's just been an amazing ascension to the top for Seth Rollins. Now the worst angle of the year, kind of the polar opposite. In my opinion, the Battle of the Bellas, Nikki versus Brie. It never was fun. Their interviews were terrible. They dropped it all of a sudden when Brie becomes Nikki's slave, and then all of a sudden they're best BFFs again. I don't get it. It was just silly and stupid, and that's why it's the worst angle of the year. Coming off of that, our next award goes to Match of the Year. Now, if you haven't seen it, and I know a lot of you haven't, I think this might be probably the match that we're going to look back on in 5 years and say that's when everything started for him. And that would be Cedric Alexander versus Roderick Strong from the first Ring of Honor pay-per-view, Best in the World. Cedric Alexander, and no disrespect to Roderick Strong, because he's a very respected and easily looked on as a great wrestler. But Cedric Alexander used that show as his coming out party to show the world that he's here, he's ready to be a megastar, he's ready for anything he can get, and he absolutely puts it on with one of the legends of Ring of Honor, one of the Ring of Honor's most highly decorated performers in Roderick Strong, who also puts on an amazing match. This was kind of the passing of the torch from Strong to Alexander, as Alexander pretty much becoming the new Roderick Strong. But I just thought it was amazing. The psychology, the ring work, everything about it to me what made it the match of the year. Next up, our viewer's choice. This is the one we posted on our Facebook page that every one of you had a chance to vote on if you go to our Facebook page. And the winner for viewer's choice best wrestler is Brock Lesnar. Can't hardly argue with that. I mean, the guy beat The Undertaker. He had the demolition of John Cena at SummerSlam. I mean, the guy's been a monster and a beast everywhere he's been, and he's had an amazing year. Probably one of the best years in wrestling for a guy that only works a handful of appearances. He's made a huge impact. Hard to argue with it with the impact he's had. Now, off of that, we're going to go to our final award, the biggest award in my opinion, the Professional Wrestler of the Year. And to me, there's one guy who's a phenomenal choice. And that's going to be the spoiler right there. AJ Styles. AJ Styles starts off the year with TNA not renewing his contract. Leaves TNA, and I don't know if... I know the show aired during 2014, but I don't know if it was taped before that or not. I don't really remember. But AJ started the year as TNA World Champion, at least on television. He might have lost it in the tapings before that, before the year started, but at least on television. He's released from TNA. There's all the questions. Is he going to go to WWE? What is AJ going to do? Is he going to have to suck it up and go back to the Indies? Which he did. He went back to the Indies. He went to Ring of Honor. He went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And you know what? AJ Styles had one of the most amazing years that any wrestler in this century has had. He's been everywhere. He's put on great matches with everyone. Ring of Honor, he's blowing the doors off the buildings. Every independent promotion he goes to and works, he's stealing the show. House of Hardcore he goes to, he steals the show. But most specifically, New Japan Pro Wrestling. AJ Styles goes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, arguably the #2 company in all the world, and maybe in some places even #1. I know in Japan it's #1. And AJ Styles ascends the ladder, becomes the IWGP champion, and dominates and becomes, the leader of Bullet Club after Prince Devitt leaves. Dominates the year. Has a match of the night every card he's on in New Japan, which is saying a lot because there's mega talents over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know how many of you guys follow it. I watch it on what I would say is a semi-regular basis. I watch probably 2 or 3 shows a month, which I don't know how many shows they actually run, but I tend to watch what is considered their pay-per-view or bigger shows. So I see, guys over there that are just doing amazing things. And then you got AJ Styles coming in and proving exactly what everybody's always thought about him, that AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers in the world who's never really got an opportunity outside of TNA. He's always been the big fish in the little pond. Now he's in a much bigger pond. I think New Japan Pro Wrestling is a much bigger pond than TNA ever was. And he's showing what he could do when given the huge stage. He's going over there as a gaijin. He's going over there as an American in a different company. This would be the equivalent of someone like Nakamura coming to America and becoming WWE champion. within the first year. It doesn't happen. This would be like Okada coming to WWE and winning the World Championship. That doesn't happen. You know, he goes over there and just blows everyone out of the water. And I think, in my opinion, since the year 2000, I think this is one of the best years any professional wrestler has had. Ring work wise, innovation wise, talent wise, I think AJ Styles is absolutely on top of the wrestling world right now. Now, he might not be making the most money, but from everything I hear, he's making more money doing what he does now than he ever did in TNA. So, hats off to him. He took what could have been a negative in being let go by TNA, which I consider him the face of TNA still. I can't think of TNA without thinking of AJ Styles. He took what could have been a negative, flipped it around, and made it a positive, and given us the best year of his career, in my opinion. But basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been our Heel Heat Awards for the year 2014.